today I will be presenting 3 topics. So I've selected these 3 topics. One of them is the one that I really like. The second one is really helpful for innovating our companies. And the third one is, I can say that is very mind-blowing while you are using your processes. So first, I would like to start the one with I really like. So I will go with the cash flow. But for ones who do not recognize me or do not know me, I am Billur Samdancioglu. I live in Germany. I am a Microsoft BizOps MVP, also Microsoft certified trainer, user group leader, and super user, certified solution architect, been in Dynamics for 21 years, and been in more than 40 projects, and now working in the user side. So yes, this is a summary
And
of
just to
my
add,
professional life.
sorry to interrupt, Bilur. Just to add, Bilur was the first person who had submitted the 3 sessions when we announced the call for speakers. And Bilur was always there supporting us in the user group. And we always look up to her and learn so many things. She also managed the Turkish user group, right?
Yes, correct.
And the community, and she's always active, and feel free to reach out to her for any help on Dynamics. And you always inspire us, Biluru, for all your community work. Thank you so much for joining as well. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, community. Dynamics was my first job, so I really like to be in the community as well. So you can say that I'm professional amateur in this section. And if you have any questions regarding to Dynamics, you can always find me out from LinkedIn and ask your questions, and we'll try to solve your problems from the community or directly from LinkedIn if I can. If I cannot, I will try to guide you. So yes, welcome to this session. So let me share my screen. So this one that I have already been given in, I think it was in Wednesday in Dynamics 365 community meeting. So I advise you to also go and reach out that kind of sessions, which are monthly presented. But that part, I only have 15 minutes. So it was more of a session of training. It was more of to show what the module is and kindly how it works and what it does or whatever. In this one, I will try to have, I have more time, so I would like to go a bit more in details. As you can see, what a cash flow means is not to report what we have as a transactional base. It's more about what we will have in the future. So what will be my inflows? What will be my outflows in the future? So what should I do? How I should manage my bank balances, cash balances that I have, so that in the future, if I would like to pay something to my vendors, or if I will be short when I'm just doing my collections, or like if I would like to do an investment, could I be able to do it? Should I require a bank loan? And if I'm going to pay my loans, rent, etc. If I can go with a project, and if this project will give me the cash in the correct timing intervals. So cash flow actually helps us manage all of these functionalities. As you can see, here I see some reports, because reports are the best and impressive things that we can see during the presentations as well. But of course, these reports do not create by themselves. So you have to do a couple of things before you go for the reportings. And as I always say, why we use ERP systems, including Dynamics 365 F&O, is to do the reportings. It's not just because that we need to insert data and have our accountings in here. Dynamics 365 F&O is very effective on the reporting nowadays, and it's becoming more and more powerful in the reporting parts. I will go and show you a couple of other reporting tools in one of my sessions is related to BPA and BPP. But in this part, also in the cash flow, we have these powerful tools to report. But before we report, as I mentioned, of course, as consultants, as users, you need to do some setups. You go to cash and bank management, of course, module. Cash and bank management module has different functionalities that has been gathered into one module. So you can do the bank management, cash management. You can manage the letters of guarantees, credits, and etc. Also, which includes the cash flow forecasts. As you can understand, it is a forecast. So how do we set up this forecast? We go to cash flow forecasting section. Under the cash
I think we lost her. Just give a couple of minutes, she'll be joining back.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Billur, we can hear you now.
Interesting. All right, no problem. Somehow I'm out, but back again. Let me continue. So you can see here, it is very easy. You will be very shocked when you see that how easy to set up the cash flow forecast. Normally, the cash flow forecasts are very underestimated by the companies, right? Because I don't know why, because each company has different type of reporting habits. Rather than using the cash flow forecast setups, they rather use different lots of reports they would like to go with. But I always advised them to use and set up the cash flow forecast and create their reports accordingly. And also now in the 365, rather than the old days, we have some additional functionalities that we can use, which I will be going over with. Which elements does a cash flow have, right? This is something that we need to think of. First, we need to set up, of course, our liquidity accounts. So in this liquidity accounts, here you can name the GL accounts that you have from your chart of account. And the other option is, of course, within respective, select the bank account. So here, after you define which accounts to use, that data, that liquidity accounts and bank accounts will affect your cash flows. The other setup is about the accounts payable. The things that I will tell you now will also be effective in the accounts receivable setups. So they are very similar as we have in the modules as well. So what you would like to add into your cash flow is that you would like to see the balances of your open transactions of the vendor and also of the customer in your cash flows, right? Because you have on your transactions the due dates. So according to the due, you assume that these values will be paid, but that's not enough. Also, you can add into your cash flow reporting the open orders. So you already have purchase orders in the system and you know that they will be invoiced and paid. And also you have sales order in the same manner that you know that will be invoiced and that you will have inflows, correct? This is why here you are able to do the setups according to your accounts payables and receivables. So the first part is about the orders. So here you can say that you can define the time between delivery date and invoice date. So you can say that after it's delivered in 7 days, for example, this will be invoiced. And then you define the terms of payment. So here you select the terms of payment by vendors to describe the time between the invoice date and the due date. And then you can say that the time between invoice due date and the payment date, you can directly pay at the due, but the time to time, if you say that, okay, in average, we have a day or two between the due date and the payment date. So you can make these definitions as well. If you have any specific definition per vendor groups or posting profiles, you can override these settings in the header according to the definitions that you do for vendor groups or posting profiles. For example, you would like to see different liquidity accounts for the payments for generic posting profile or prepayments. You will be able to define it in here. Or posting profiles or account groups or a specific vendor. For example, if you have a specific vendor group or a vendor that you need to see in your cash flow in a separate account, then here you will be able to manage. As I mentioned, the same thing applies in the accounts receivable as well. So in the accounts receivable, you can have the same settings, but in this part, in the receivable information. In your cash flows, you can add your budgets because normally what you do is that through the budget models in your company, you can have monthly budgets, you can have yearly budgets, you can add the expected cash inflows or outflows into your cash flow. Also, it's possible to create different budget models. In my implementations, what I do is that, for example, if there is a cash flow inflow or outflow wanted to be seen, wanted to be planned, which is not in the budget. For example, you can say that, okay, I might have the chance to have an investment next year. I want to build a factory next year. What would be my cash outflow for this one? I don't want to budget it right now. I don't want really into my real budget right now. I just want to see the effects in my cash flow, right? You can create a new budget model, for example, calling the investment, all right? And then select in here on your cash flow forecasting just to see its effects. Or you can say, I'm planning to have a bank loan in 3 months. And of course, it will be an inflow, but will have also outflow effects for the payments. What will be those effects? Will I be able to pay this loan? Will my sales be okay with the payment of that one? And if the loan and the investment will gather themselves together. So you can create a special budget model, for example, for that bank loan, and then here add into this cash flow forecasting, and then you will be able to do this reporting and see the effects. So mostly what I do is that I use budgeting to be able to see these kind of effects on the cash flow. We have inventory management. You may use or not use the budgeting, but you can only use the inventory forecast models. So you can say that in the budget, I would like to see my sales, my purchases as budget. I will not to do a fully cycle of budgeting, but just want to track my sales budget and purchase budget. So to see in my cash flow. Or you can have that budget, but if you do not want to use that in your cash flow, you can just skip this setup. So it depends.
Hi, Billur, you are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Interesting. Okay. Also, if you have project management and accounting module, you are able to set up here different project types, transaction types to be in your cash flow forecast setup. You can select one or more, or you can skip the ones that you do not want to see in your cash flow. For example, the included project types can be time and material, fixed price, investment, internal and cost. You can say that I don't want to see the internal and cost in my cash flow because it doesn't have that much of an effect. So you don't want to see the little details. So you can skip by saying the internal and costs as no when selecting the others. Also, you can include the transaction types like hour, expenses, items, fee, and an account transactions. It's also possible, as we have the inventory management, you can here add the project forecast models. It is that easy. Here in this cash flow forecast setup, all you need to do is to select what you would like to see in your cash flow. Then it comes to reporting. Here in the reporting part, for the first time after you do these setups, from here, you can do the automation, all right? Or from the menu to manage all these automations, come to cash flow forecasting and cash flow forecast automation. So here, think that the cash flow is not per company. Yes, you do it, you define it and set up the automations per company, but this form, as you can see, you will be able to see different companies in one form. And also cash flow can be reported by company and also by enterprises. So you will be able to see your the cash flows from all of your companies at once.
Sorry to interrupt, Billur. I think you are again.
I'm not doing anything, so I'm constantly being muted again. Okay, what about no? All right, let's see. To create a new process automation, please tell me if you cannot hear me because I don't know why, but it's constantly muted. Anyway, so to go for the process automation, you click here, create new process automation, and select the schedule type. It defaults into the company that you are in, but you can always change it. And say create series. Write down the name of the automation. For example, let's say USMF cash flow automation. All right. You can write down the description, your schedule time. So as you can see, it's looking more like a batch setup. You give an start date. You can give an end date. If you do not fill the end date, it will run forever for you until, of course, you stop the batch. You can say, I would like to repeat it daily, weekly, monthly, or say that I would like to run it just once. And then you give the repeat intervals. And this is very critical after you do the setups. Here that you create, you define the cash flow forecast calculation method. In this one, when you say it's total or if it's new, total means that system will run everything from the start. It deletes the cash flow data and runs again. And of course, this will, for the first time, it's okay. But if you select total each time from the performance perspective, if you have too many transactions, that would be an issue. But if you set up as new, this means that only new transactions will be flowing into your cash flow, the new processes that applies. And when you say finish, here you will be able to see the one that you have very newly created. And when you click on it, you will be able to see the statuses, like it's scheduled, or if you have an error, if you have completed. These kind of information can be easily seen under these parameters. After you run it, so what happens? The cash flow is more about the reporting, and ERPs are for reporting, right? So you come here. As you can see, under workspaces, we have two: all companies and current company. So for the current company, you will be seeing the cash flow for specifically on that company that you are in. But if you would like to see the whole view, of course, before you have to do the setups for each company, you will be able to see here your cash flows. There are standard reports, standard grids that Microsoft give us. Here, as you can see in the cash overview tab, you will be able to see the total balances. You will be able to see the actual and forecasted balance in bank account currency, inflows, outflows in system currency, and also with different currencies for forecasted currency balances. You can see the cash flow forecast. In the cash flow forecast, you will be able to see the details. You can see the inflows, outflows, and the balances in here. And in the right part, you will be able to see inflows, outflows, and balances per date. And in the bottom part, you see date, the direction, either it's incoming or outgoing. The company, as you can see, this data is coming from USMF, and this one is coming from USSI. The transaction types that you have the details on. As we have discussed, we can see the transaction type of free text invoice, vendor open transactions, customer open transactions, sales orders, purchase orders, and of course, if exists, the budgets. So here, by directly looking on daily view, you will be able to see from which data does it come from. Additionally, you will be able to see the document number, the voucher, account number, name, document date, due date, currency, and here the amounts. If you are on the graph and click either of the columns, it will give you the details for the date that you have selected. For example, as you can see, each time I click on the graph, I will be able to see the details, either in the bottom part or in the right part. In the right part, you will also be able to see the filtering. So you can also use the filtering for these options. When we go to currency forecast, as you can see, the same applies, but in this case, per currencies that you would like to report. Here you can select just one currency, for example. All right, then the data will change. For example, if you would like to see how much euros that you will need or you have, you will be able to here by filters easily see that information. These are the standard reports that we have. But do you think that is enough? Maybe yes, maybe not. And you may say that I would like to have more visuals. In the old days, how we do is that we ask developers to create us some reports, maybe before SSRS or some Power BIs, right? But nowadays, it's easier to make the reports, so users can be easily make their own reports. And to manage this issue, you go to options, you go to edit. When you say edit, system will ask you if you would like to change something from this report, or you can create a new page for you, leave the reports of standard reports here. In this case, you click new page, all right? And then easily select your visuals. Do you want a pie chart? Do you want a line graph? So let's do it a pie chart. I click on the pie chart. Once I click on the pie chart is added on the page. Now I need to manage the data, right? Which field that I would like to see. Here we have different data sets that you can use. These are the cubes. The measurements, of course, of date, a bank account dimensions, forecast actuals, liquidities, liquidity of inflow and outflows, and liquidities per transactions. So let's select one of them. Here, I would like to see the actual balances by bank account, for example. You see, it is this much easy to create a new one. And then I can add one more if I would like to. Let's say go with a line chart. All right. Now I created a chart. Then I go here and say, let me see inflows, outflows according to the accounts, for example. See, so it is this much easy to create the charts and the reports, and you can just change their designs this much easily. And now it's ready for to use. It's not just the visuals. You can have, for example, the formattings. So you can slice it, rotate it, depending to your needs. in this part also, you are able to add, you can add your data visuals, like, let me check, as tables. You see? Now this one has been changed from graph to direct to table to show you the balances accordingly. Or you can put here, leave it as a pie chart, and in the near you can create a new one as a table and add the data as you can see. Here, let's do another one. Let's see the balances according to the bank accounts here. You see, so you can see by account in a visual, and if you would like to see the values, you can directly come in and change it. There are some functionalities. When you click on it, you can say that I would like to show as a table, I would like to remove it, or I would like to export data. So when you try to export the data, it will ask you which format that you would like to export. If it's with the current layout, if it's the summarized data, or you would like to see the underlying. And when you say export, system will export the data directly to Excel easily. Another option that you can use here is that you can save by clicking on the report. You will be able to save your reports. Here in the view, you can say if you would like to fit the page, fit the width, if you would like to see it's in your actual sizes or not. So these kind of report layout changes be easily managed. So this applies most of the reports that you have in this shape. This is not specific for cash flow, but I think for the cash flow reporting, this is very essential. I can hear you saying that, is that all? But no, it's not that all. You may say that you didn't mention anything about the AI, right? Correct. I didn't mention anything about the AI, but here we have other functionalities that we can use. It's the financial insights. Maybe you have heard about it. Okay. Financial insights is a tool that you can use in for different things like the budgeting, customer payments. One more I do not remember right now, but also for the cash flow. So why do we use the financial insights for cash flow? Because it increases the accuracy of cash flow projections. So it is not just showing us what we have or from the sales orders or the other. It helps us to forecast the cash flow, and it uses the machine learning models, right? It's kind of a start of an AI, but it uses the machine learning. But of course, for it to be using the machine learning, it's advised to have 3 to 5, at least 3 years of data, because it learns from your data. This is the purpose of machine learning, right? And also for financial insights, what is very good is that it creates snapshots. What do I mean by snapshots? As you can see, the thing that I've shown you is always updated, and it's only been reported as of now. But using the financial insights, you can have more than one cash flow projections, and you will be able to find there are differences. You can do the what if analysis. For example, you can have a one cash flow for optimistic, one cash flow for normal projections, and one for the pessimistic. And then you can check what are the differences. You can say that, okay, if I do this investment, what will happen? If I have a bank loan, what will happen? If I do not do anything and stay put for a while, what will happen into my cash flow? So you can have these functionalities. The form that you see may be an old form, but yeah, it has its own treasury workspace, and you will be able to manage and report accordingly. But of course, as everything, every good thing, it has some prerequisites. So to be able to use the financial insights, you have to have tier 2 environment. So it should be multi-box. And financial insights uses AI builder credits for financial predictions. It would be good to have at least 3 years of financial historical data. You need to set up the financial insights add-in. And of course, you have to do the Dataverse setup. Even if you have all of these, also from the dynamics part, you have to enable the cash flow forecasting. As an additional input, we can say that once the financial insights is activated, you are able to use the data entities. That data can be imported from external sources. What I mean, if you have different companies that are not yet been using Dynamics, or if you would like to put some additional information to your financials, but you do not want to use your budget process, it is possible with these data entities to import the data directly to your cash flows. And of course, you can say that if you would like to see the cash flow from the sales tax authorities, you will be able to manage by enabling the future from the future management. So this was a good thing because in the last years we didn't have this functionality. So it's important to see if you are a huge company, you have to pay taxes, and in this case, this should be also added in your cash flow. For the cash flow, this is what I would like to show you. Unfortunately, for now, we do not have anything I can say from the BPA and the BPP part. This is a very common question. And I will come to the BPP and BPA functionalities right now. So yes, actually, unfortunately, we for now do not have that. But in the future, I hope we will have that functionality. Do you have any questions, or I would like to continue with the BPP and the BPA functionalities? All right. So for the BPP and BPA, you can say that I don't know what this is, but these functionalities are pretty new actually. And everybody was really very enthusiastic when it comes to these functionalities. BPA they sound similar, but there are huge differences in between. BPA is a modern analytics framework. We can say it business process analytics, which is built in Dynamics 365 Finance to help organizations gain real-time insights across financials and operationals data. The purpose is to streamline reporting and decision-making by integrating data from multiple modules. And the key features are uses pre-built data models, cubes with facts and dimensions, and also enables custom report design using Power BI or Excel. But of course, like the good things have some things that you have to do before, BPA has also its own requirements. So to be able to use business process analytics, you have to have a tier 2 environment, so it should be multi-box. And you have to have Dynamics 365 Finance version of 38 and application version from 94 or later. You have to set up required privileges in Power Platform and Dynamics 365 Finance. You have to configure Microsoft Power Platform. You need to have and configure the Microsoft Extra Tenant, Entra Tenant. You move data from production environment to a sandbox environment if needed. And confirm the Power App users are enabled in Dynamics 365 Finance. Configure Dynamics 365 Finance and configure your Power Platform Admin Center. So you may say that will that worth to do all these setups to have this reporting? I believe it is. And also from the licensing perspective, from at least now it's free. BPP is a little bit different, and this is the business performance planning part. And it's a feature that offers financial and operational planning. So this is more about a planning tool, okay? And analytics. By Power BI and Excel to create a connected enterprise experience. And BPP allows users to plan and create the what-if scenarios. Load fact data into cubes, define dimensions. This is very similar to BPA, but BPP also, by using the Power Automate workflows and notifications, you can manage. And by Power BI, you can have specific visuals. And BPP is a native Dataverse solution to optimize the efficiency. And of course, BPP has some requirements that you have to install the app. You still have to have tier 2 environment multi-box. And you have the Dynamics 365 version 37, Power Platform Update 61. You need to have a Microsoft Power Platform environment. And here it comes that you have to have Finance Premium license. So you cannot use this functionality, unfortunately, with a standard license, but you have to have the premium. So BPA is in standard licenses, BPP is in premium licenses. Does it worth it? Yes. It works. So if you are using some budget, for example, it's easily to manage with the workflows directly from the graphics. So the difference between the BPA and BPP is BPA is used for reporting. BPP is used for reporting, but also for taking actions. So to use BPP, you have to have the configurations, like you have to create dimensions, you have to create cubes, you have to load fact data into the cubes, you have to connect Power BI to data, you have to install planning visuals, you have to configure that visuals that you would like to see, and you have to do the security setup. As for example, if you would like to create a budget, and then for that budget to be directly to be changed in the system, of course, it's very critical that you set up the workflows, that you set up the security. Who can just change the data into the system? Normally, what BPA do is that in the BPA, data flows direct to the BPA. But in BPP, data flows to BPP, and from BPP, the changes flow back into the Dynamics 365 Finance. So when you change a budget directly from, for example, a pie chart, line chart, or a graph, that data, according to the flows, of course, will be changed in the BPP, in Dynamics 365. You do not need to go back to Dynamics and do any changes. Think that you are a budget professional, budget manager, and if you would like to change anything about the expenses. Now it's very easy. You do not need to open Dynamics 365, FNO, go to the budget module, and then do the changes. You can see on your graphs and change directly from the graphs, from your reports. As I said, that BPP is not just for reporting, but also for planning purposes. The key features that we have is that the strength of the Power Platform objects, Power BI, Dataverse, and it has 7 custom visuals to use right in. With Power Automate and other Microsoft Power Platform capabilities can be used for notifications, workflows, custom fields, and much more. You can easily create budget planning and forecasting scenarios and versions to facilitate an agile planning process. This is most commonly used for, as far as I see, for budget planning. I didn't see any functionalities with the cash flow, as I mentioned, but there's lots of investment that's been made for the BPP, so we do not know what there will be in the future, at least for now. And it's very effortlessly create, update, and delete data directly from the tables through bulk editing capabilities. So the visuals that you see help save time and reduce effort. As we said, what is the key differences? That business performance planning offers financial and operational planning and analytics that create a connected enterprise experience. It uses the familiar productivity tools of Microsoft Power BI and Excel. And with performance planning, you can help plan, create, and what-if scenarios to make the decisions. But on the other hand, the business performance analytics transforms how finance departments manage complex data and use it for informed decision-making. It aims to deliver an all-encompassing view of business processes and systems in a real time. And also there comes some co-pilot functionalities and advanced capabilities in the system. And as a summary, business performance planning focuses on financial and operational planning, while business performance analytics focuses on managing complex data and providing real-time insights. I will, after this slides, I will show you how we manage in PPA. And what we say is that between the relation of the BPP and BPA, even if they are different things, you do in BPP and then report in BPA. And also for the new updates, that is for BPA, is that there will be an hourly refresh of data in BPA. Now it is, I think, daily data refresh is being managed, but hourly refresh of data for the BPA is coming, and also empowers users with a generative help and guidance within business performance analytics, which means, of course, for us, Copilot. And for BPP, new updates are that to accelerate planning with quick start templates, and of course, improve planning with next-gen data model builder. So let's go to cut to the chase and go for the BPA. Here, when you go home, if you have not installed, I don't remember its name, but if you have this home page, you will be here seeing the business performance analytics and business performance planning. So first you click, of course, you will just be direct to a learn page for the installations, but after you do the installations, you can click and you will be able to open the ones. There, for the BPA, we already have some predefined templates, right? Here, as you can see, we have balance sheets, budget versus actual, documentation, financial performance. I'm skipping because I'm the owner. And you have general ledger dimension details, general ledger transaction details, profit and loss. You may remember these like the trial balances that we have in the financial reporting and the system where we have. From here, from the dashboard, come to the general ledger. All right. Under the reportings, as you may remember, we have under inquiries and reports, financial reports, correct? So these reports can already be taken from that part, correct? But if you have made some implementations, you may remember that most common questions are, okay, we take this data from the general ledger, but can we see some reports from the sales or purchases? And unfortunately, we were saying that you cannot. You can go to the each module and have your reports, correct? Or you may need to create new reports accordingly that if you need a specific design. But what is good about the BPA is now that we can say, yes, you can have purchase related and sales related reports directly from the BPA. So there are 15 reports pre-built. So in each of them, when you click it, you will be able to see those reports. So for example, let's go with the balance sheet. This is a very standard report that you can have and see. This is an embedded report. As you can see, you can have these kind of reports very easily. All right. I'm going from currency to company, and then by grouping that we have made into the system. Let's say one more. Let's say budget versus actual. This is another report that you can see. This is the same, but in this case, what we can see is the balances of the actual budget variances and various percentages. In the header, you will be able to see by legal entity, you can say this entity or not. You can set up the accounting dates, select the currency if you would like to see the accounting, reporting, or transaction. If you edit the budget, you will be able to select one or more budget models or types. Let's go to the documentation. Here under the documentation, you will be able to see the documentation of the BPA on the table mappings, bus matrices, and etc. And the one that I really like, let's go to financial performance. Here is the graphs. Sorry, I'm always saying the graphs because I really like the graphs, and I know that the managers like the graphs. And this is, I think, something attractive to use. Here, as you can see, we have the similar views in Dynamics as well. We have the balance views, and we have here the graphs. We can go into the details and etc. So here, with the more options, you can, as I have shown in the cash flow, you can export data, you can say show it as a table, so that you will be able to see these details according to the table view with the data. Okay, so the one thing that you cannot do here, that you cannot change the standard report that has been given by the Microsoft, of course, but you can create your own reports. You can do it either by creating a new pages, or you can directly copy the ones that you have, and you can able to make these changes. Let's go and do the changes. For example, here, by saying new report, system will ask you for a blank page, which you can edit the columns. Or you can select, and which is easier to make, I think, and then duplicate. This is the one that I have duplicated. All right. I have always have the chance, of course, to change its naming. And then you will be able to edit, delete, or duplicate. When you say edit, here, you will be able to see your visualizations, which you can add new visuals into your system, or you can add new pages. You do not need to be visualization in the same current page. You can use the Microsoft as standard and create a new page and then start adding your visuals. And here, as you can see in the right part, you will be able to define the parameters. You have the dimensions. For example, here, you have the assets, you have the bank accounts, you have the buying parties, like, for example, vendors, vendor names, say, customer names. You have the currencies, dates, if you would like to have the calendar or fiscal, and then general ledger accounts. Under the columns, you can have the account names as dimensions, the statuses, ledger information, which entities that you would like to use, and also this kind of procurement categories, product, and other kind of information that you would like to have. And after the dimensions, you have the facts. Under the facts, you will be able to see the amounts, date, keys. So you can here select the amounts. The amount can be in transactional currency, can be in accounting currency, can be in reporting currency. You can have also the facts from budget, from bank statements, packing slips, product receipts, purchase invoices. As I mentioned, this is the main differences that we have in the financial reports. And I have the feeling that in the future is more about in this BPA rather than the financial reporting. I think the financial reports from some point, this is a feeling, this is not something that I really know, but I have that feeling that in the future, all the reportings, except for some regular reports, of course, that we use from the electronic invoicing, but to be managed in this part. Yes, this is how our BPA works. You can save it, and once you save, all the data will be here. Once the data is in here, as you can see, the type is custom. File type is, of course, these are the Power BI reports. Normally, you may remember for every Power BI report, we have to go to a developer, then we have to have the Power BI desktop if required. But now it's very easy for also the users to create their own reports. If you are an account manager, if you are a sales responsible, with your security rules, of course, you will be able to do your reporting. And here you will be able to see the owner. From the administrative home, you will be able to do like link this one with Microsoft Fabric, and you can download the semantic models, and you can even import and export the reports that you have created. Here you will be able to see the diagnostics, how the processes are, like the user configuration, like basic rule checks, and the data-related informations. Here you will be able to see and manage the dimensions. So there is, of course, some default dimensions that we have, but you also have the opportunity to create new entities and, of course, add into the business performance analytics. And you can have dimensions and dimension groups. You can have roles, so you can define different roles according to these definitions, who can see these reports or edit, and then you can have the user list. Yes, this is how we manage BPP and BPA. Do you have any questions? This is the functionalities that are really very exciting so far. And now, if no questions, I will go with the other part.
Thank you so much, Billur. That was an amazing session, and cash flow was really a hot topic, and that was one of the trending videos in our YouTube channel. So I hope they'll learn more about this. And BPA, definitely it's going to be the future. So it's gonna replace financial reporter for sure. And I believe in future they may not need a more BI reports for the finance team. They can start building their own from BPA. I hope we are
Here,
getting to
I
see
think
much traction from
how
their side.
Microsoft divert that I see is that couple of things that we can count in this year. First, what they want is that take all those heavy load from the developers and then let the users easily make their reports. By this one, we have, for example, as we see in the cash flow, we can create our own reports by adding the fields. So we do not have to wait for a developer or load these kind of easy things to the developer, honestly speaking, and make the developers to work on more important things, right, in the life, rather than doing the reports, because doing a report is very, I don't know, I think you have been making some, you have a view on how not easy, because you have to decide all the groupings before all these analyses or whatever. And then when you give it to the user, and user will probably say that this is not what I want, or can we add these, and now it's all on the user. So user can go and have these wonderful visuals. You know, in if you are going to present, if you're a sales operator that you would like to go with the dynamics, and if you show all these graphs, and also for the sales operations, I think it's very valuable as well. So I think from my point of view, Microsoft is saying that, okay, let's invest on users, better UIs, user interfaces for them to be able to do whatever they want to, plus, of course, AI. So AI is one of the most current topics that we have. With the AI, that comes the agents. And we have some agents, of course, as predefined. And also you can create your own agents as well. So I think two hot topics that we can have is that the first reportings through BPA, BPP, through the dynamics itself. And the second topic is about the AI and the agents. And of course, when we say AI and agents, we have to go with the MCP server. Yeah, so this year will be an MCP server year, I can say. You will be having lots and lots of videos about the MCP servers, as we have already. But
Yeah,
I will
and
not be
yesterday
talking
I have
about the
seen in
MCP server
experts
right
live.
now.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So in the experts live, I've seen that the RDP is gone now, and now it will be a Windows application, and you can host your cloud server at any point of time. You don't need to log on and go to the horrible struggle when reconnecting happening on the RDP servers. So that was a good update from Microsoft, that you have a small device which is called Windows 365 application, which you can plug and play anywhere, and it will become a cloud PC. You don't need a CPU to carry anywhere. That was a good update, actually.
Exactly, exactly. I'm very glad that this year, in our, I have talked with Alper. Alper is my husband, and he's a developer as well. We had last week, I think we had took a video and saying that, okay, normally you may not be able to find anything to discuss every week or every month uh, in the last days, but now it's normally it was just once in a year that the new things come, but now it's just, it's like exploring new events, right? Everything is changing monthly, that you have everything that you can discuss in each month. And it's and this is a good thing, you know, that you have to evolve yourself. So I'm glad that we have these kind of events like we have now, because that there are lots of things going over the world, and we cannot be every time to look in detail. And these kind of events are very helpful to understand what's going on in the dynamics worlds. And of course, now it's not enough to learn just the dynamics, that you have to go over with the other parts. If you were a solution architect, for example, it's not enough that you know the finance module, even not really the dynamics. So you have to go with the Power Platform, you have to go with the MCP server when you are trying to offer something to your users. So, or else you will be doing the developments, and you know that I'm not very fond of making developments in the system, except for, of course, the real important ones, because that Microsoft does these developments, right, and being tested by hundreds of employees. And so as a consultant, it's very hard for you to be able to test it. I would always prefer to use what's in standard. If it's not in Dynamics, of course, it could be, for example, can be done by the Power Platform objects. You can use, for example, Power Automate for the workflows. If standard workflows is not good enough for you, you can have Power BI visuals rather than to create standard reports, right? And so, yeah, I think we are going into that way. So it's more about not like doing too much development, but being an expert to design a system. Less development, more designing.
Yeah, and the Microsoft has also launched recently the agent store where you can list your own agents. How you were listing your apps. App Store is also similar to this. So it's good that now we can list our own agents and everyone can leverage the value and nobody has to develop everything from scratch. This is also a good initiative. Hopefully, we're going to change the way we work. We only deploy agents in future.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, in a wonderful world, yes. Yeah, we have time. We still have a couple of years, I believe. But
Yes.
yes, but remember that the good old days, yeah, you know, there are lots of bugs that you have to handle or whatever. But we are going to another world. We are going to have the AI robots. And I hope that AI robots in the future will just clean the house. You know,
Definitely.
it's I can write the code, but please clean the house.
So
Because
we'll take one more session specifically to talk about AI. That will be better, I believe. And thank you so much, Billur, for amazing session. And we really
Mhm.
love your effort and on a weekend for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And next coming up is Subhashish. Subhashish is also an MVP on AI Azure, if I'm right. And thank you so much, Subhashish, for accepting our invite to present on a weekend. And over to you. The floor is yours, Subhashish.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And thank you for Billur for such a wonderful session. So that was amazing. And in fact, as usual, it's a combination of just not what is happening around the right now, but also what is there in store, what is there in the plan. And really, like Billur, you are always insightful about giving